Scale their business. Hello, everyone. Hello, mission-driven badass entrepreneurs. Happy New Year. This is actually our first show for 2022, and I'm so excited to be back with you and started with another amazing guest where we will speak about a very cool topic that I know there's a lot of interest in looking confidently on camera, especially with entrepreneurship and positioning ourselves and standing out from the very crowded online world. Really learning this important skill is going to be a game changer in you scaling your business forward for 2022. And I would just want to remind everyone again, as I have a lot of new people on the channel. I am Ilona Lopari, best-selling author, host of the Life School MasterClass show, and also CEO of the Life School, where we help mission-driven entrepreneurs scale their businesses to 6 and 7 figures through proven marketing and sales techniques so they can build their mission-driven empire and not to sacrifice their income for impact. So I will jump right in and I will start introducing you with my guest today. Her name is Lisa Hannigan. Lisa, thank you so much for finding time to be on our show today.
Hi, I'm very excited to be here and to be your first guest of 2022. Exciting.
It's definitely exciting. No pressure, but we got to make this a jam-packed episode, as I am so sure that always happens that way, especially when you have a very spontaneous, casual conversation. So before we go into deeper, let's start with an introduction. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do so that our audience can get to know you a little bit better?
Oh, definitely. My pleasure. Well, again, I'm Lisa Hannigan. I am the founder of Glimmer Learning. So what I do with Glimmer Learning is I'm a virtual engagement and visual strategist. I work with speakers and entrepreneurs to help them to feel more confident, to be more engaging, and really to powerfully connect when they're speaking in front of the camera. Because face it, that's where we are most of the time now, is in front of the camera. We need to get better at videos, lives, and just in general to be able to connect and feel authentic when we're speaking online. I'm also the creator of the show Engage and Shine. It's a new endeavor for me that I'm really excited about. It's on Win-Win Women TV.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely. Speaking on camera is definitely a skill that I could relate to at the beginning of when I first started showing up and doing lives. And I know how nerve-wracking it is, especially at the beginning, because it's a skill. I think everything takes practice, and it's a skill that can be developed. So I think this is definitely one of those as well. So before we get into maybe some of the tips of how to speak more confidently on camera, how did you get started? Why are you so passionate about teaching this to other people?
Oh my goodness. Well, I definitely was not confident in front of the camera at first, for sure. So as you can see, I'm fair skinned, I have red hair. So just speaking in the front of the room, I would just get all blotchy red and butterflies and get sick to my stomach. So it didn't start out this way, for sure. But I started way back in the corporate world as an admin assistant, and fast forward, I had to jump in the front of the room to fill in and became a trainer, and then later on ended up leading the university at our corporate office. So I just fell in love with speaking, and then started doing instructional design and making videos, and just knew that this was just a space that was really comfortable for me. And I was able to help others to actually learn to get more comfortable with just speaking in general, and really crafting their message. So as I paired the two together, that's just kind of gradually how the kind of, I guess, path went to speaking, to video, and in the world in learning and development, which is where I was for a lot of my career when I was in corporate before. That's where it was leading towards. You had to be able to do things in front of the camera to make videos, to do virtual facilitation and things like that well before we had even the pandemic going on. So it just needed to become more natural.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. And why is it that this is important? So we talked about, being crowd, the online world being crowded, really standing out to really speak to your ideal audience. Those are really important skills that are needed for especially online entrepreneurship. But why do you personally feel it's important to learn this important skill?
Well, I feel that, your words are very important. And we're all over social media. Everyone's on social media, and we're sharing our words and we're sharing our content, and pairing that up with our visuals, which are very important as well. However, for people to really build that know, like, and trust factor that we talk about so much, you can only do that so much with them reading your message and seeing your visuals and learning about your service and products. In order for people to really to feel the power of that connection and to want to work with you, or want to maybe spend more time with you, or even want to reach out to you to make that first contact, they need to see you. They need to see you. And even if that just starts by, taking that first step, some people are even nervous about even taking a picture of themselves. Even taking that first step, starting there, that's a beginning step. And then taking that next step, maybe doing a video because you're nervous about a live, these are all steps towards people building that trust factor, so that they know who you are. They connect with you as a person instead of just the words and the images that you're sharing out. That those are important, but you as a person, that's who they want to know. That's who they want to work with. So that's why I feel like being able to stand out, you need to be able to get in front of the camera, be able to share your words for them to see and hear you. That's what makes you stand out.
Mm. Well, you said so many beautiful things on there, and it just reminded me of my first experience doing my first live. I felt like it was the end of the world. Oh my God, I sweated and I was so nervous for maybe like 4 days before that. And my worst fear was that I was going to get stuck and I was not going to be able to move forward. And, just Googling and learning. I mean, I wish I would have known you that time, but just Googling and figuring out things on my own, I said, you know what? I read something that said that one of the techniques could be that you just put a picture of someone you love, that you trust
Yes.
and you feel safe. And that was
Yes.
my sister. And I did that right, before the live, and I scripted my whole life because I was so, afraid that I would just mess up and my train of thought was going to leave me and I was just going to look ridiculous. At the end of the day, that's the fear that we all have.
Yes.
And that helped me so much because I'm like, okay, I'm just speaking to my sister. That's it, one person. And I had to just remove all this other noise about who's going to watch it and all of that. I'm like, no one's watching it. Thank God, nobody's going to watch it. I had to just tell myself all these things. But I definitely agree with you. Just being through this journey now and just being able to speak, pretty confidently now. All I need is a topic, and I don't even need a paper or anything anymore. I just jump on and just speak from the heart and the experience. But obviously, that does not come without practice. I've been doing
Exactly.
this for a couple of years. I could see the progress, and of course, I am proud of the progress. And I love what you said. Start with what you're comfortable with. And I
Yes.
shared this story with you before that I started with podcasting because I was afraid to go on camera. I just like, okay, I learned through podcasting. It's an easy way. I had everything scripted at the beginning, just like my live video, because I would be afraid that I, couldn't create good content.
Yes.
So obviously, with practice and all of that, I moved to live video and all of that. But you are absolutely right. It's a skill worth learning because
Yes.
that is the best way, the most powerful way for us to build our know, like, and trust with our ideal audience, because they can feel you. You develop an emotional connection. They can they can feel you, they can see the way your personality, the way you are, and they can connect to your message definitely much more in a deeper way, by by also building that know, like, and trust that is so important, especially in today's world. So
I love what you said too, that you use the example of podcasts, because one of the things that have taken off so much, podcast in just the last 2 years, that the listeners on podcast have almost doubled, and also Clubhouse now. And that is such an avenue for you to take steps. So there's so many avenues now. So I love that, that again, that you echoed it is about, what are you comfortable with? Just taking a step, wherever you are now. If you're comfortable and you don't want to be seen yet, then try Clubhouse or try a podcast, but take the next step, because the seeing and the hearing, those are adding those senses in for that additional connection to your audience. So yeah, it's so important.
Definitely baby steps. I'm all about that, towards building your confidence. And the more you show up for yourself, the more you look back and you realize that you get more comfortable. Just like anything with practice, it definitely helps. But I want to hear from you. Is there any tips, anything that you help your clients with that you would like to share for our audience, of how is it they could start? Or maybe if they're already doing it for a while, how is it that they can improve the skill? Because I feel like it's a skill that always can be improved, just like with anything. You can always, make sure your message is more clear. And we have entrepreneurs here that have been, in business for a while, and maybe they've already had the skill under their I guess their bucket of skills of entrepreneurship, but maybe they also are looking to constantly improve their speaking abilities, because speaking could be another very great way to reach a wider audience.
Oh, definitely. Speaking and sharing your voice is the fastest way, having that visibility. So one of the things that I do with all of my clients, first thing, I do this in, my one-on-ones, and then now I've developed a program as well, and I start here, and I feel like it is the foundational piece of ensuring that you are connected with your voice. And I like to call it, being connected with your voice. And it's about, unlocking your natural ability to speak, because ultimately we want it to appear natural. We don't want to be up here like a robot and being all stiff, and because that is the fear when you're in front of the camera too, is that, what do I look like? I don't like how I look and I sound in front of the camera. I hear that so much. And it's because, we're reading a script word for word, or we're a robot up here or something. And to feel natural and to speak natural, I've met people that and spoke with them in person, or even in online, having a conversation with them, and then all of a sudden they get in front of the camera and they know that it's being recorded, or they're doing their webinar, and all of a sudden they stiffen up, and they become a different person. So one of the pieces of advice that I would give is really make sure that you have a strong connection to your why. And people hear this why a lot. I approach it a little differently, maybe than some people. I actually have an exercise that I go through with my clients that involve 4 quadrants, and it's about connecting your heart with your mind, and ensuring that you have a very deep understanding of your message and why it is that you're showing up. And I would give this advice because I don't just do this with new speakers and entrepreneurs. I even do this with people who I work with that, they say, "Oh, I've been speaking for a long time," because sometimes we get going for a while, and we need to revisit and get grounded back into, well, why did we start this in the first place? We need to revisit those initial feelings, because those are important, because the feelings that we had when we first started, when we were first passionate about what we were doing, or if it's a product that you sell, like, oh my gosh, I want to sell this product. It's amazing. I use it and look what it did for me. And now you're selling it, or whatever it is. Now maybe it's 5 years later and you're not as like, ooh, excited. You're excited, but you're just not like that. You need to get back to that lit up phase. And when you go through this
Mm,
exercise, you connect back to that. And that's where we have to stay. And if we can get that connection, and we can keep that connection and revisit this exercise, these 4 quadrants that I go through, it it helps you to feel that natural connection. It truly does bring that confidence. It reminds you also of the path and the journey that you've taken, so that you remember that you already have everything you need, because imposter syndrome is such a horrible thing, and it does sneak up on all of us at times, and especially if you're new. So you need that reminder that, hey, you know what? You've got everything you need. You have all the skills and expertise. You have all of the knowledge, so that when you do get ready to speak, all of that goes away, and you can speak and you can say those words naturally. So to me, that you have to have the foundational connection. That's what's really critical.
mm. Well, you said so powerfully to revisit the why, and it's so important. And one of the things that also I think helped me mostly was really remembering the impact and the service mindset. You are there to serve and to show up because someone else might need to hear what you already know. And what is knowledge that we don't share, right? I mean, we're taught in school, sharing is caring, right? That is where fulfillment comes from. I think we need to go back to basics and
Beautiful.
always remember that there's someone that needs to hear that, and come out of your own insecurity, your own, noise, mumbo jumbo, imposter, all of that, and just focus on the service.
Oh,
What,
yes.
who needs to hear this message? Why is it that they might be struggling and you might just be that person that they need right now in their life, and you're able to guide them and help them?
So
So if
true.
you
So
just
true.
share that and focus on that, that's why I work on mission a lot. And mission sometimes scares a lot of people, just like the why revisiting has been so redundant. Like, what's the why? What's the why? But speak about your little vision, and the vision, it's okay for it to be little for that video. Okay, so my objective here is to share this message because I know I have valuable knowledge to share, and I can help someone listen into that. You don't always have to have this big idea or big mission that sometimes freaks people out and our brain out because it's just too big. And then we can start getting overwhelmed. And then what do? We procrastinate. We don't do anything. So
Exactly.
show up for the people that need to hear it, show up to serve. And that's honestly been my biggest game changer personally, that I just show up, just go live and just chat, because at the end of the day, I have a lot in me. I need to share that with the world, and someone else that needs to hear that. So I think just keeping that in mind is definitely absolutely so important, to come out of you. I think that's the biggest thing. Come out of your own self and your own insecurity, and always focus on that. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. We could keep going forever.
I know. And I want real quick just to touch on something that you said that I think is so important for your audience. You talk about your lives that you do, and you do these so often, and you've been doing them for so long as well. But that's something for them to remember, that can be a confidence downer, I guess, so to speak. When you do lives, it's okay if no one shows up or one person shows up. Don't wait. Just do the live. Don't let that be something that doesn't increase your confidence, because you're still doing it and someone will watch it. It's all about sharing your message. And lives are, people aren't always available when you go live, but they will see your replay and it's there, plastered in front of them for, YouTube is evergreen. You can put it on your YouTube channel, Facebook, they can scroll and see it later and catch the replay or whatever it is. But it's practicing and getting out there and getting that message out there. So I love that you shared that.
Mm. And that's another theory I have about that, about not getting a lot of views. I don't mind that. As long as one person showed up, my message landed with one person, this fulfilled its purpose. With having that other thing there, it just really stops you from just over worrying and worrying about the likes of the views and all of that. Because I share a lot of content about this. The most valuable people that you will serve are never going to be engagers. They're going to behind the scene. They're going to reach out to you and say, you know what, get it every day. Your live really helped me with this or that, or even your video. It doesn't matter. Your piece of content, your post, if you just focus on creating good stuff and speaking from the heart, the rest will just become a buildup and a momentum thing. So it's amazing. All right, Lisa, we've reached the end of our interview. Like I said, I know we can go on forever. Maybe we'll go back and we'll just, focus it a little bit more on this amazing topic and really how to find your inner voice. I think that's another thing that a lot of people are struggling, because we have a lot of information. We can be very influenced by this person's message, that person's message, but a lot of times we get confused over what is our message. How do we filter into authentically, what is that we care about based on our life experience and all of that. So that's another show that we could be putting out for sure in the future. I think there's definitely a lot of need for that. But I will ask you, what is the mission that you feel most called to serve? I know you've shared a lot with us, but I just want to, finalize it with that and then ask you, where is it that the audience can connect with you further?
Well, my mission is definitely to get as many voices on the stage as possible, and whatever that stage looks like for you. So I just want to hear all the beautiful messages that are out there inside of you. My mantra is, I believe we all have a spark that's ready to be lit. And I truly, truly do believe that you have a beautiful light inside of you. Share it with the world. Don't keep it inside. And then you can find me, on Facebook and LinkedIn as Lisa Hannigan. I'm on Instagram at Glimmer Learning. That's the name of my business. And then, of course, you can watch my show on whenwhenwomen.tv. It'll be on Roku TV and Fire Stick and Apple TV after January 17th. So it's called Engage and Shine.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I wish you great luck and success on impacting as many people as you can with your mission for 2022. And I'll definitely be looking out for your show. And wish you much success and share your message that way too in that platform. Thank you so much for coming on today, Lisa. Thank you so much for having this really casual, amazing interview and casual chat. And we will see you next week with another interview and with another fabulous guest and topic. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Welcome to the Life School MasterClass channel and show, where mission-driven entrepreneurs scale their business.